Here's how to live without expecting anything from anyone. The Buddhist path to inner peace. What would happen if, from this moment forward, you stopped expecting other people to give you the peace you have been searching for? Imagine how much lighter your heart would become if you no longer waited for someone to understand you perfectly. Appreciate every sacrifice, return every kindness, keep every promise, or love you exactly as you hope to be loved. Imagine waking in the morning without carrying the invisible weight of disappointment, without silently measuring what you gave against what you received. Perhaps this is the burden that has been exhausting you. Not the work you do, not the responsibilities you carry, not even the difficulties life places before you. Perhaps your deepest fatigue comes from waiting for an apology, waiting for recognition, waiting for someone to change, waiting for another human being to behave according to the picture your mind created. The ancient Buddhist path offers a quiet and liberating truth. You do not suffer merely because people fail to meet your expectations. You suffer because a part of you believes your peace depends upon them meeting those expectations. Once you see this clearly, something begins to change. Before we walk deeper into this teaching, subscribe to Buddhist Wisdom if you wish to continue exploring a calmer and freer way of living. And in the comments, write this simple affirmation: I release what I cannot control. Let those words become the first stone on a new path. There was once a young monk who lived in a small temple at the edge of a cedar forest. He was diligent, gentle, and always willing to serve. Each morning, before sunrise touched the mountains, he swept the temple courtyard. He prepared tea for the elder monks, carried water from the river, and tended the lamps before evening meditation. Yet beneath his kindness, there was a hidden hunger. He wanted others to notice. Whenever an elder passed through the freshly swept courtyard without thanking him, disappointment entered his heart. When another monk drank the tea without praising its warmth, irritation quietly followed. He continued serving, but his service became heavy. Every good deed carried an invisible request: see me, appreciate me, give something back. One evening, after a violent storm had scattered branches and leaves across the temple grounds, the young monk remained outside long after everyone else had gone to rest. Under the pale moon, he cleared the courtyard alone. His hands were cold, his robes were wet, and resentment grew within him. At last, he went to the old master and said, I give so much to this temple, yet no one seems grateful. Why should I continue doing good when no one appreciates what I do? The master lifted an empty clay bowl from the table and held it beneath the moonlight. Does the moon ask the bowl to praise it for receiving its reflection? He asked. The young monk remained silent. Does the river demand gratitude from the trees growing along its banks? Does the lotus wait for applause before it opens? No, master. The old man placed the bowl in the monk's hands. Then learn to give as the moon gives light, as the river gives water, and as the lotus gives its fragrance. When your kindness demands payment, it becomes a bargain. When it asks for nothing, it becomes freedom. That night, the young monk understood only a small part of the lesson. But small understanding is often how transformation begins, like the first line of sunlight appearing behind a dark mountain. Many of us live as that monk lived. We may not speak our expectations aloud, but we carry them everywhere. We expect our family to understand our silence. We expect our partner to recognize our needs without being told. We expect friends to remember what matters to us. We expect those we help to help us later. We expect loyalty because we were loyal, gentleness because we were gentle, and honesty because we were honest. These desires are deeply human. Buddhism does not ask you to become cold, indifferent, or incapable of trust. It asks you to look honestly at what happens when a natural preference becomes an inner demand. You may prefer kindness, but life will sometimes bring you harshness. You may value loyalty, yet encounter betrayal. You may offer love and receive distance. The moment your mind insists, "This must not be happening," pain becomes suffering. The first wound comes from what occurred. The second wound comes from fighting reality. Non-attachment begins when you stop adding that second wound. It does not mean that mistreatment is acceptable. It does not mean remaining in harmful relationships or abandoning healthy boundaries. It means refusing to place the key to your inner peace in someone else's hands. Your heart can remain open without becoming dependent. You can love deeply without demanding ownership. You can help others without building a hidden debt they never agreed to repay. You can speak your needs clearly while accepting that another person is free to respond according to their own awareness, their own wounds, and their own level of wisdom. This is where inner freedom begins, not when everyone finally treats you as you deserve, but when their behavior no longer determines the condition of your soul. But to reach this freedom, you must first understand the nature of expectation. Expectation is often a quiet agreement written by one person and signed by no one else. You decide that because you were always available, they should be available when you need them. Because you forgave their mistakes, they should forgive yours. Because you remembered their pain, they should recognize your suffering without explanation. Yet the other person may know nothing about this silent agreement. And when they fail to honor a promise they never made, your heart experiences it as betrayal. This does not mean your needs are unimportant. It means that unspoken expectations create prisons in which both people suffer. You feel neglected, while the other person is judged by rules they were never invited to understand. Mindfulness teaches you to bring these hidden agreements into the light. The next time disappointment arises, do not immediately blame yourself or the other person. Pause, breathe slowly, observe what is happening within you as though you were watching clouds cross an open sky. Ask yourself gently, what was I expecting in this moment? Perhaps you expected a message. Perhaps you expected gratitude. Perhaps you expected someone to choose you, defend you, comfort you, or recognize the love hidden inside your actions. Do not shame yourself for wanting these things. Simply see the desire clearly. Awareness is not judgment. It is light. When sunlight enters an ancient temple, it does not fight the darkness. Its presence is enough. In the same way, when awareness enters the mind, hidden attachments begin to loosen without force. A traveler once came to a mountain monastery after suffering a painful betrayal. For many years, he had supported a close friend through hardship. He had offered money, time, encouragement, and protection. But when the traveler himself entered a difficult season, the friend disappeared. "I gave him everything," the traveler told an elderly nun who cared for the monastery garden. "The least he could have done was remain beside me." The nun continued trimming a small bamboo plant. After a moment, she asked, "When you planted your kindness in his heart, what fruit did you expect it to produce?" "Loyalty," the traveler answered. "And did his heart promise that it was fertile enough to grow such fruit?" The traveler looked away. The nun placed the shears beside her. "You planted a seed in another person's garden and then built your happiness around the harvest. But you cannot command another person's soil. Give because giving reflects who you are. Then plant the seeds of your peace in the one garden you can faithfully tend, your own mind." For several days, the traveler resisted her words. He feared that releasing expectation would make his kindness meaningless. But gradually, he understood that the value of his compassion had never depended on the friend's response. His goodness remained goodness. The betrayal revealed the character of the friend. It did not erase the character of the one who had loved sincerely. This distinction can heal something deep within you. What others fail to return does not diminish what you honestly gave. Your love was not wasted because someone lacked the wisdom to receive it. Your loyalty was not foolish because another person chose betrayal. Your kindness does not become weakness simply because it was offered to someone who did not honor it. Still, wisdom asks compassion to walk beside discernment. A river gives water freely, but it does not abandon its banks. Without boundaries, it floods the land and loses its direction. In the same way, living without expectation does not require you to give endlessly to those who repeatedly harm you. You can release resentment and still step away. You can forgive and still refuse to reopen the same door. You can wish someone peace without allowing their chaos to enter your home. Compassion includes compassion for yourself. Sometimes the most loving action is silence. Sometimes it is distance. Sometimes it is saying, calmly and without hatred, I cannot continue participating in this. You do not need anger to establish a boundary. A mountain does not shout to remain firm. It simply stands. The Buddhist path teaches the middle way, the wisdom of avoiding extremes. One extreme is demanding everything from others. The other is pretending you need nothing at all. Both arise from fear. You are human. You need connection, care, honesty, and companionship. Inner freedom does not require denying these needs. It asks you to stop turning them into chains. You may receive love with gratitude without believing you cannot survive without it. You may enjoy another person's presence without making their presence the foundation of your identity. Think of two birds resting on the same branch at sunset. They share the warmth of the fading light, but neither bird ties its wings to the other. When morning comes, they may fly in the same direction or follow different winds. Their time together is beautiful precisely because it is not imprisonment. This is the heart of non-attachment. Non-attachment is not the absence of love. It is love without possession. It is care without control. It is the ability to hold another person gently, as you might hold water in open hands. The tighter you grasp, the more quickly the water escapes. But when your hands remain relaxed, you can experience its coolness without trying to own it forever. Everything in life carries the nature of impermanence. People change, feelings change, relationships change, bodies age, seasons turn. Promises made with sincerity may become impossible to keep. Those who once understood you may grow distant, and strangers may unexpectedly offer the kindness you had been seeking from familiar hearts. When you demand permanence from an impermanent world, anxiety becomes your constant companion. You begin guarding every relationship, interpreting every silence, fearing every change in tone. The mind becomes like a person standing beside a river, desperately trying to prevent the water from flowing away. But the river was never meant to remain still. Peace comes when you stop commanding life to freeze in the form you prefer. You begin to appreciate what is here, without insisting that it remain. You say thank you to the evening, without resenting it for becoming night. You cherish the flower without accusing it of betrayal when its petals fall. And slowly, your relationships become more honest. You no longer love people only for the role they play in your happiness. You begin to see them as changing human beings, carrying fears, wounds, dreams, and limitations of their own. This understanding gives birth to compassion, not the compassion that excuses every harmful action, but the compassion that sees clearly without filling the heart with poison. The person who failed to appreciate you may never have learned how to express gratitude. The one who could not love you gently may still be fighting a war within themselves. The one who abandoned you may have been running from their own pain long before they ran from you. Their wounds do not make their actions harmless, but understanding prevents their darkness from becoming your darkness. If this teaching is helping your heart become lighter, take a quiet moment to like this video so it may reach someone else who is carrying the weight of disappointment. And in the comments write, I give with love, but I keep my peace. Let this affirmation remind you that that an open heart and a wise boundary can exist together. Now breathe. Feel the air enter your body without demanding anything from you. Notice how the breath arrives, nourishes you, and leaves. You do not chase the previous breath. You do not beg it to return. You receive it, release it, and trust that another will come. Life has been teaching you non-attachment with every breath you have ever taken. In the same way, you can learn to receive each person, each moment, and each gift without turning it into a permanent claim. When someone offers kindness, receive it fully. Do not immediately fear losing it. When someone listens to you, be present rather than wondering whether they will always understand you. When love appears, honor it without forcing it to promise that it will never change. The mind that expects nothing is not an empty mind. It is a spacious mind. It does not say, "No one will ever give me anything." That is bitterness. It says, "Whatever is freely given, I will receive with gratitude. Whatever is withheld, I will not allow it to destroy my peace." There is profound strength in this way of living. You stop waking each morning with your emotional bowl extended toward the world, asking, "Who will fill me today?" Instead, through mindfulness, meditation, and compassionate self-awareness, you discover the quiet spring already flowing within you. You learn to sit with your own sadness instead of demanding that someone immediately remove it. You listen to your needs before resenting others for failing to recognize them. You become capable of comforting yourself without closing your heart to comfort from others. This is not loneliness. It is inner companionship. In a remote valley, surrounded by mist-covered mountains, an old monk once cared for a small temple bell. Every morning, he rang it at sunrise, and its sound traveled through the forest. For many years, villagers climbed the mountain to meditate with him. Then, a new road was built through another valley, and slowly, the visitors stopped coming. Weeks passed without footsteps at the temple gate. A younger monk who lived nearby felt sorry for the old man. "Master," he said, "why do you continue ringing the bell? No one is here to hear it." The old monk smiled and looked toward the awakening sky. "The bell does not ring to be praised," he said. "It rings because ringing is its nature, and I do not practice peace so that others will admire me. I practice because peace is the way I choose to meet this life." The next morning, before dawn, the younger monk heard the bell again. Its voice moved through the empty forest, touching the pines, the rocks, the birds, and perhaps no human ear at all. Yet it had lost none of its beauty. Can you live like that bell? Can you be honest because honesty is your nature, not because everyone will be honest with you? Can you remain compassionate because compassion protects your own heart from hatred? Can you do what is right without requiring applause as proof that it mattered? This is how karma may be understood in daily life. Every intention leaves an imprint on the mind. Each time you act from resentment, resentment becomes easier to carry. Each time you act from wisdom, wisdom becomes more natural. Your actions shape you before they affect anyone else. Therefore, do not make another person's behavior the ruler of your character. If someone becomes cruel, you do not have to become cruel. If someone forgets your kindness, you do not have to regret having been kind. Let their actions reveal their path while your response continues shaping yours. But remain awake. Wisdom is not passive. If a relationship repeatedly wounds you, observe the pattern. Speak clearly. Establish distance when necessary. Let go without revenge. Forgive, not because the harm was insignificant, but because your future deserves freedom from the past. Forgiveness does not always rebuild a relationship. Sometimes it simply ends the relationship's power to continue living inside you. You may never receive the apology you deserve. You may never hear the explanation that would make everything understandable. Some doors close without a final conversation. Some people leave while your heart is still full of questions. If you wait for them to give you closure, you may remain standing at the same door for years. Create closure through acceptance. Acceptance does not say that what happened was right. It says, "It happened, and I will no longer sacrifice this moment while arguing with the past." You gather the lesson, honor the pain, and continue walking. A lotus does not wait for the mud to apologize before it blooms. Perhaps you have spent years hoping that one particular person would finally recognize your worth. A parent, a partner, a friend, a child, or someone who once made you feel invisible. You may have tried harder, given more, remained silent longer, and abandoned parts of yourself in the hope that one day they would say, "Now I see you." But your worth did not begin in their eyes, and it cannot end in their blindness. You are not valuable because someone chooses you. You are not unlovable because someone fails to love you well. The moon remains whole, even when clouds prevent the world from seeing it. Begin giving yourself the understanding you have been begging others to offer. Keep the promises you make to your own heart. Rest when you are tired. Speak when something matters. Leave spaces where your dignity is repeatedly denied. Spend time in silence until you can hear the voice beneath your fear. A simple meditation can help you return to this freedom. Sit quietly each day, even if only for a few minutes. Feel your breath moving naturally. When the face of someone who disappointed you appears in your mind, do not push it away. Notice the expectation connected to that person. Then silently say, "You are responsible for your path. I am responsible for mine. I release you from the task of creating my peace." Return to your breath. If grief arises, let it arise. If anger comes, observe its heat without feeding it another story. Emotions are like storms crossing the mountains. They may be powerful, but they are not permanent. The sky does not become the storm merely because the storm passes through it. You are the awareness in which these feelings appear and disappear. Over time, you may notice that disappointment no longer stays as long. You become less reactive to silence, less desperate for approval, and less frightened by change. You begin asking for what you need honestly, instead of secretly testing whether someone cares enough to guess. You also become more grateful. Expectation says, "You were supposed to do this." Gratitude says, "You did not have to, and I appreciate that you did." When expectation weakens, ordinary kindness becomes visible again. A shared meal, a thoughtful message, a stranger's smile, a friend who listens for a few minutes. These moments no longer disappear beneath the weight of what you believe should have happened. You receive them as gifts rather than payments. And when no gift comes, you remain whole. This is simplicity, meeting reality before the ego covers it with demands. This is patience, allowing people to grow at a pace you cannot control. This is compassion, understanding their limitations without surrendering your well-being to them. This is inner freedom, participating fully in life while refusing to make your peace dependent on its obedience. So, as you move forward, do not promise yourself that you will never feel disappointed again. You are human, and the heart will still hope. Instead, promise that when disappointment comes, you will meet it with awareness. You will ask, "What was I expecting?" You will breathe. You will separate what you can communicate from what you must release. You will speak where speech is wise, set boundaries where boundaries are needed, forgive where resentment has become a prison, and walk away when staying requires the abandonment of yourself. Then you will return to the present. The sun will still rise, water will continue flowing. Somewhere, bamboo will bend beneath the wind without breaking. Somewhere, a lotus will open above dark water, and within you, a quiet space will remain untouched by praise, rejection, arrival, or departure. Live from that space. Love people, but do not ask them to become the ground beneath your feet. Appreciate their presence, but remember that all meetings are shaped by impermanence. Give freely, but do not empty yourself to purchase affection. Trust wisely, speak honestly, and let gratitude replace the invisible contracts that once made your heart heavy. If this journey has brought peace to something within you, subscribe to Buddhist wisdom and return whenever the noise of expectation begins to rise again. And in the comments, leave this final affirmation: my peace begins within me. Carry these words beyond this moment. The next time someone fails to respond as you hoped, pause before allowing disappointment to become resentment. The next time your kindness goes unnoticed, remember the moon reflected in the empty bowl. The next time someone leaves, remember the river that continues toward the sea. The next time you feel alone, listen for the temple bell within your own heart. You do not need to stop loving. You only need to stop abandoning yourself in order to be loved. You do not need to expect nothing because life has made you bitter. Expect nothing because you have become free enough to receive everything with gratitude and release everything with grace. May you give without losing yourself, love without creating chains, and forgive without reopening every door. May you accept what you cannot control, change what wisdom asks you to change, and find within your own awareness the sanctuary you once searched for in others. May your mind become peaceful, your heart become compassionate, and your journey be guided by wisdom.